Hello everyone, I welcome you all to another lecture with Zenith Academy Online. I'm Shravika Jamnik and I'm your teacher for today. Today we are going to learn the chapter 2 of Commerce Class 9 ICSC. It's called Business Activities. Please note it is the part 2 of this chapter. So let's see. Business activities has been divided into two parts. First one is industry and the second one is commerce. We have already covered industry in part 1. In this video, we are going to cover commerce. Before we go in depth, let's just see what basically commerce is. Whenever a producer is producing his goods, it needs to reach a final consumer. So between the producer and the final consumer, a lot of processes come into picture. In this case, we've taken an example of watermelon. Watermelon is being produced, and for it to reach a person who wants it, a lot of processes are involved, such as first the whole process in farming, then there's transportation of this watermelon, then there's taking the watermelon to a fruit seller, and then it reaches the final consumer. This entire process is covered in commerce. Commerce is that branch of business which involves the buying and selling of goods, the exchange of commodities, and the distribution of finished goods. So, all these activities of a business are involved in commerce. Buying, selling, and distribution. Then there's organized system linking the business world to rest of the society. Commerce is an organized system linking to the business world which produces the commodities to the rest of the society which needs these commodities. Commerce comprises trade and the various auxiliaries to trade. We are going to learn what this sentence is in detail in just a few minutes. Commerce is like a pipeline between goods, is a pipeline for goods between producers and users. Let's see the importance of commerce. The exchange of goods is a very complex process. It will involve a lot of processes, a lot of tiny processes, and these processes they're very complex. That's why we'll get a lot of hindrances, that is a lot of difficulties. Let's see what some of these difficulties are and let's remove them with the help of commerce. First is hindrance of persons, then there's hindrance of place, time, risk, finance, and knowledge. Let's learn them in detail. First one is hindrance of persons. Suppose I want a very particular thing like a shoe, but I don't know where I can get this shoe from. That is hindrance of person. A consumer doesn't know uh, where the producer is. The producer doesn't know about the consumer. That's hindrance of person. Let's see what commerce does to help. So I want this shoe, this exact shoe, and I also want it in a very specific size because I have, let's say, very tiny feet. What can be done about this hindrance? That's where trade comes into picture. Trade provides a very organized market, a market where a consumer and a producer uh, they are linked together. That's where they can come in contact. Producer can sell his products and consumer can buy whatever they want to buy. Now, instead of these shops, these real shops, we also have e-commerce these days, where everything is just a touch away, like your Amazon, Flipkart, all of that is covered in e-commerce. And I finally get my shoe, and I will be a happy person. So now let's move on to the next hindrance, hindrance of place. Whenever a producer produces something, maybe he is producing it in this part of the world, but the requirement of this product is in this part of the world. And this is a problem. This is a hindrance from this part of the world, taking it to this part. That's where commerce comes into picture. This hindrance of place is removed by transportation, and there are various modes of transport, such as there's your airway, waterway, roadway. All these modes of transport will help in removing the hindrance of place. Now moving on to hindrance of time. In today's time, lot of products are produced in bulk. Let's take an example of mobiles. Mobiles are made in bulk, and it's not necessary that the moment it's announced that these phones are available for buying, it's not necessary that these phones will get sold out. So that's why they will need to be stored for some time till someone actually orders it, so that then they can be taken to the consumer. This storage, this time gap between the production and it reaching the consumer, this hindrance of time is overcome by storing them, and this is also a part of commerce. Then when someone orders it, we can give them the product in exchange of money. Moving on to next hindrance, hindrance of risk. During transit, every time the goods are being taken from one place to another, there are a lot of risks involved. Risks such as fire, flood, or maybe the goods can be destroyed by improper handling of your commodities. Maybe the packaging is not right. If the packaging is not right, again, it means there's a problem. So that's why, to avoid these risks, or even if to manage these risks basically properly, we need insurance. We are going to also learn about insurance in detail, but this problem of risk is basically avoided by insurance. Next is hindrance of finance. Finance means money. So usually when there is buying or selling of goods, we need some common medium of payment. This common medium of payment can be anything. It can be a common bank, it can be your common mobile app, but it needs to be a common medium so that there is a proper safe transfer of money. If money is not transferred properly, it's a very huge problem. There's there's a lot of difficulty in handling money, and that's where commerce also comes into picture. Commerce will help reducing this difficulty. Bank. So in case of a bank, what can be done is, suppose there's an HDFC bank near my house, and there are a lot of branches of HDFC bank. I go to my branch and I pay the money, the cost of the product that I want in my branch of HDFC. Suppose it's Andheri branch of HDFC, and the person, the producer, is say in the Delhi branch, lives near Delhi branch of HDFC. So bank is what enables this transfer of money as well. Even if I make payment in the Andheri branch, the money can be taken out from the Delhi branch of HDFC. So bank is another very important part which removes the hindrance of finance. There are various modes of transport, various modes of payment, such as there's check, there's direct deposit, there's cash, there's your cards such as debit card, credit card, and there are your mobile wallets. Last one is the hindrance of knowledge. A producer, he may find selling his products very difficult. That's where advertisement comes into picture. Advertisement will help the producer know exactly where his products are required, and it also enables the consumer to know where exactly he can find his producer. So because of advertisement, a lot of things become easy. The hindrance of knowledge, that is, the consumer and the producer are made aware of each other with the help of advertisement, and hence the hindrance of knowledge is also removed. Now moving on to the two parts of commerce, that is trade and aids to trade. Let's first learn trade. Trade means the buying and selling of goods, exchange of goods for money or equivalent. In absence of traders, producers will have to search for consumers. This is very right. So even if I produce, I will have to give it to a shopkeeper or uh, basically all these traders who will directly take my products to the consumers. So traders are very, very important. Trade is the nucleus of commerce. All the other processes, all the other parts of commerce, that is the aids to trade, all these auxiliaries, they will revolve around trade. So all the other auxiliaries such as transport, warehousing, banking, insurance, advertisement, all these will revolve around the nucleus, that is trade. Trade is further divided into foreign and domestic trade. We are first going to learn about domestic trade, which is also further divided into wholesale and retail. What is domestic trade? Within geographical boundaries, if the exchange of goods needs to be taken place, then it is domestic. Within geographical boundaries, as in it's the same country, then it's called domestic. It's also called as internal or home trade. And in domestic trade, we often usually deal in the same currency that's of the country that we are in. Now let's see what wholesale is. Wholesale is when a trader will buy in bulk whatever he's going to sell. He'll buy all of that in bulk from the manufacturer. He will also sell all this in bulk to the retailer. So wholesale, all these wholesalers, the persons involved, wholesalers are basically people who are a link between your manufacturers and your retailers. From the people who produce the commodities, from there wholesalers will buy everything will in bulk, and then they will sell it to a retailer who will further take it to the final consumer. So let's see what retail is. Retail is buying of goods from a wholesaler, then they will sell them in small quantities to final consumer. So if say in a company 100 mobiles are being manufactured, the final consumer will probably only want one. A wholesaler will buy all the 100 mobiles, sell it to a retailer. He may not sell all 100 because the retailer will always buy less quantity. Like retailer may buy 50 from this wholesaler, and then he will give it to the final consumer, the one mobile phone that he has ordered. Retailer is the link between a wholesaler and ultimate consumer. Retailers are the persons involved. Here we can see wholesaler, same product in bulk a wholesaler has brought, and retailer are basically the small shopkeepers who will sell these in small quantities. Let's move to foreign trade. Foreign trade means buying or selling between different countries. The name justifies. It's also known as international or external trade, and the dealing may be in different currencies. What is import? Import is purchasing goods from other countries. It is coming to our country. It is coming to our country. That is the inflow. That is import. Purchasing goods from other country. From is a keyword here. Export is selling goods to other countries. From our country, it is going to other nation. Then there is entrepot. This is importing goods to other countries with the intention of exporting it to uh, other countries. Okay, so what basically it means, if I am a citizen of this part of the world, I will import a lot of my products from some other part of the world. I'm importing it all, and now I will give away a part of the products that I have taken to some other country. So India does this. They will import its oil and export it to some smaller countries like Bangladesh. Now let's move on to the next part, to the next division of commerce. The first one was trade. Now we're going to learn about aids to trade. There is transportation, warehousing, banking, insurance, advertising, and packaging. First, we're going to learn about transportation. Transportation is basically the conveyance of goods and passengers from one place to another. It creates place utility. That basically means it enables the conveyance of goods and passengers from one place to another. It widens market and helps equalize prices. So if a certain type of watermelon is only being produced in, say, China, then and producing it in India is very, very costly, then it's better to get the watermelons from China instead of producing it here. It will reduce the price, and that's how transportation will equalize prices. It results in equitable distribution of goods among far off places, and it removes hindrance of place. Here's an example. The cocoa that's uh, with the help of which chocolates are made, it's basically made in Ghana, Africa. So transportation is what enables this cocoa to be transported to other countries, and that's how we get our final product, that is chocolate. Let's move to warehousing. Warehousing is required because goods are produced in anticipation of demand. A lot of goods are produced in bulk. So they will generally be need to stored till they are sold. That's where warehousing comes into picture. Warehousing creates time utility, time as in the time between the production and the selling of the product. That this hindrance is removed by warehousing. Warehousing is further divided into a bonded warehouse, public warehouse, and a private warehouse. Bonded warehouse is set up by customs authority. Public warehouse is owned by wharfingers or port trust. And a private, as the name suggests, is owned by merchants and producers for storage of own products. Now let's take a look at banking. So banks they remove the hindrance of finance. We have discussed this. Banks provide funds to business during the time gap between production and selling. As soon as the manufacturer produces his products, it's not necessary that immediately the products will get sold. So that's where banks come into picture. Banks have a lot of schemes. They have a lot of loans uh, that can be applied for, and that's how the business can keep running. Banks will facilitate business activities by providing safe and quick ways for money transaction. The transaction also uh, is also done with the help of a bank. Bank also helps in money transaction, and banks remove the hindrance of finance. Next, moving on to insurance. So every business will involve a set of risks. Insurance will remove this hindrance of risk. First, let's see what insurance does. So, if suppose there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 7 people who have applied for this insurance. So, they are paying a monthly sum to this insurance company. All of these people are paying a monthly sum, and this fourth person encounters some disaster, like suppose there's a fire in his manufacturing unit. So now what this person will do, he will go to the insurance company and he will tell them that, see, I have faced these losses, but because he has applied for the insurance company will give him the money. So insurance is basically a pool of money. All these people are giving some amount of money to this insurance company, but it's not necessary that all of these people will face a natural disaster in their manufacturing unit. The one who will face it will get the insurance money. So insurance is basically like a pool of money. Types of insurance such as fire insurance, marine insurance, life insurance. So there are a lot of types of insurances. Let's move to advertising. Advertising informs users about availability of products and services. It removes the hindrance of knowledge, and the main purpose is to create a demand for the products. So there can be a very nice water bottle. I am using my regular plastic water bottles, and I don't know about this very unique glass water bottle. So, what advertisement will do? They will start showing me on the television about these glass bottles. They will have hoardings. It will be in the newspaper, and that's how I will come to know knowledge. That's how I will come to know about this product, and because of this, the demand of the glass water bottle will increase, and by seeing all these advertisements I will want to buy the glass water bottle, and that's how it becomes profitable to the producer. So that's why advertisement is very, very important in business as well. Coming to the last part, that is packaging. Designing and producing suitable packages. It helps to protect goods, and it removes hindrance of risk. So if the product is safely packed, of course, even if it's not handled properly, it will reach the consumer safely. Now let's learn about the distinction between organization, firm, and company. First, the basis is meaning. Organization means a group of persons jointly working to achieve common goals. Firm is an individual or group doing some business, and company is a group of persons registered under company law. Registration. For organization, it may or may not be registered. The firm may or may not be registered, but a company always must be registered. Legal status. Organization may or may not be a separate legal entity. A firm also may or may not be a separate legal entity, but a company is always a separate legal entity. Nature of work. So, organization may be commercial, non commercial. Firm is always commercial, and a company is usually commercial. Some examples are given. This is Council for Indian School Certificate Examination, ICSE. Then there is firm, Goel Brothers, Prakashan, and there is a company, Reliance Industries. Now let's see the distinction between industry, commerce, and trade. First, the meaning. Industry means extraction, reproduction, processing, and construction of useful products. Commerce is the activities concerned with distribution of products to consumers, and trade is buying and selling of goods and services. Scope of an industry is it consists of all activities concerned with the production of commodities. Commerce comprises trade and auxiliaries to trade and sale, and trade consists of activities involving purchase. Capital means the money that's invested. Generally, large capital is required for a large scale industry. If it's a small scale company, a small scale industry, then maybe the capital required is less. That can also happen. In commerce, comparatively less capital is required. Trade, capital required to keep stocks. Risk in industry, there's a greater degree of risk involved in industry. In commerce, comparatively less risk, and in trade, comparatively less risk. Nature of utility, it creates form utility, industry from raw materials to the finished good, so it creates form utility. Commerce will create time and place utility. Trade creates possession utility. Industry, it's divided into genetic, extractive, manufacturing, and construction. Commerce is divided into trade and auxiliaries to trade that we learned now in this video. Then there's trade, there's home trade and foreign trade. Home trade is your domestic trade, and there is foreign trade. Industry, beginning of utility. In industries, it begins from before commerce and trade, because first the products need to be built and then commerce and trade will come into picture. In commerce, it begins after industry, and trade, it begins with commerce. Ownership and control. Industry is controlled by industrialists, commerce is controlled by merchants, and trade is owned and controlled by traders. So with this, we have come to an end to this video. See you all again soon. If you have any doubts, please post them in the comment section below. Thank you and bye-bye.